Good morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Kids Community Connections at My Kids 1031. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host for this morning. And you know what? It's hot outside and y'all know I can't stand it. I'm not dealing with it very well. And I need to tell people, quit asking me questions when it's hot outside, because I'm going to give you any kind of answer because I'm not thinking correctly. That's my excuse. And I'm living with it too. Leave me alone. My guests are looking at me like, no, she kidding. No, I'm serious, real. Anyway, you know what? Election is coming up. And I'm tired of people talking about, you know, they don't like the way the government is going. They don't like their votes. They don't like this. Well, you know what? If you're not going to vote, shut up. I said that, yes. If you want things to change, you have to vote. And you'll want your voice heard, you need to speak up. We need to remember one thing and one thing only. Politicians, they work for us. We don't work for them. We don't need to dance to the master because we are the masters. They need to be dancing for us. They need to dance for our votes. So let's flip the script, because lately we've forgotten who's who. You know, we've been allowing people with no brains to run our government, to run our city government. We've been just allowing this to happen. And then we sit back and we fuss and we once again dance to the slave master. And yeah, I did say that. But we need to quit dancing. And like I said, we need to make politicians remember that I put you in, I can take you out. You know, your mother and father told you that. and they meant that. So we need to make sure our politicians hear that and let them know, hey, I put you in this office. I can take you out if you don't do what I want you to do. Remember, this is the I want system. This is not they tell us. No. This is I want you to do this. And we need to always remember, a politician who said, I'm speaking for you, if he's never talked to you, he's lying. If a politician tells you that I'm working for you and I'm speaking for you, he's lying to you if he's never talked to you. So remember that. When you hear these politicians and when you go see them and hear them saying, yes, I'm working for you, tell them in their face they're lying, because they've never asked you what you needed or what you wanted. So it's your job to tell them what they need to do, not what you want them to do. Tell them what you need them to do. Hold them accountable. Now, yeah, certain things you ask for they can't do, but who cares? Put it on their plate anyway. We need to take control back. You know, like I said, we hear a lot of things coming from our United States government, you know, and we wonder what crazy things are going on. Well, you need to have that magic card, which you call a voter registration card. And if you have that magic card with you, you can utilize it and remove them. And also, we need to do the other things. You know, we get on Facebook, and we talk trash on Facebook, and we pass our good information. But do you ever Facebook your politicians? Do you ever email them? I surely do. I know I do. You know, my city council people probably know that I do. But we need to do that. You need to contact them, because you know what? When you don't contact them, you allow them to do like little children do. You know, and all of us know little kids, you know, if you don't give them any direction, they will do anything they want to do simply because of one thing. You didn't give them any directions. Politicians do the same thing. The same thing. They assume they're voting for you because you didn't say nothing. You didn't say, hey, listen, you know what? My street is dark. Can you do something about it? To your council person. Well, they're not going to fix it because they didn't know about it and you didn't say anything about it. You didn't put it on their plate. You know, your legislators, I say if you're an educator, I'm going to say it out loud because I got two educators in here with me. You're crazy because of this. Your legislators haven't given you a raise in over 20 years and refused to give you one. Have you contacted any of them? Most likely, no. So that means you don't want a raise. Because as you're sitting there emailing and Facebooking, you can email and Facebook them. They're on Facebook. They have email. You need to let them know your concerns. So November, we need to vote or be quiet. And go sit in the middle of an area where there's just trees and bushes, and you need to go sit there and just continue sitting there because you have no worth. It's time for us to stop complaining. It's time for us to stop being confused. It's time for us to start digging. Like I said, we have these things called cell phones, you know, and your cell phone now is a little more technology than it was before. So everything is at your fingertips. Start using your fingertips and doing some work. You know, while you at work, while you're doing whatever, like I said, on your phone, utilize it. Find out who your legislators are. Find out who your council people are. Find out who all these people are and email them and tell them how you feel. If you do it, they begin to wake up and change. The marbles in their head become solid and they learn to think. So that's my soapbox. Vote or shut up. And I did say that. Yes, I know I said it. I said it. And are you supposed to say it? No, but guess what? this is what we need to do. So we need to vote. And that's it. And also, if you're not registered to vote, call me. Find me. You can find me one way or the other. Facebook me, whatever. Find me. We'll make sure you're registered to vote. And if you know some family members that are not, make sure everybody registered to vote. In fact, make that your topic of conversation next week. Are you registered to vote? They say no. Find somebody. Call me. Facebook me. You can Facebook if you know any of your city council people. Call them, make them accountable too. Make them, hey, I'm not registered to vote. Make sure they help you get registered to vote. Let's put everybody to work, but vote. I mean, vote. Early vote. Early voting is better. I mean, you can get in, get out. When you do go vote, can you take a cheat sheet with you? Yes. Can your cheat sheet be on your cell phone? That's kind of iffy there because you're not supposed to use your phone in the polls. So it's best to just write your cheat sheet on a piece of paper and you can take it in there and vote. So you don't have to go in there and go, oh my God, what do I do? No. Go in there and study and vote. And before you go vote, there is a ballot out online. It will be online. You can go look at it and see what's on there so you can study on who to vote for. And don't vote for people you've never talked to. I'm not. I'm going to talk to you by email, Facebook, whatever. If not, I'm not voting for you. I'm serious. I am not, because I don't see a reason to, because you haven't said nothing to me. We haven't had that conversation. I'm a very confrontational person, and I am, and a couple of people here know that I am very confrontational. One doesn't know maybe, but I am confrontational. So you're going to talk to me or else we're going to have a different kind of conversation. All right, on to my guests. My guest, one of them being probably my mother lately, is Councilwoman Shirley Fleming, because often she wants to, take a paddle and get me. I'm glad Councilman Steve Harris hasn't made her a paddle to get me. Because if so... Find one. And then I have another guest, and she's a concerned citizen of Killeen. And by accident, she now knows me. And she's found out that I'm more than just a person in the classroom. She's finding out that, I actually do a bunch of other things. And we're talking about my show today. And she began to ask me a lot of questions. And you know what? I'm like, forget all this. Hold up, just stop, wait, forget it, hold, stop. Come on the show. I said, because one, your councilwoman, Shirley Fleming, will be on the show. I said, and Steve Harris will be on the show. And along with what we're going to talk about, they can also answer your questions. So good morning, Amber.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shirley Fleming.
Good morning.
And good morning, Steve Harris.
Good morning, ma'am.
He had to be the one. I'll tell you, Mr. Smarty
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question. This first off question.
Yes, good morning.
Just jump off. Okay, a lot of times we hear city council, we see three of you all come to an event. And if another one walks in, then somebody walks out. And then you all say that you cannot have a walking quorum. But city council, much like the police department, a lot of people use words that no one knows what they mean. So you see a walking quorum, and if no one knows what a walking quorum is, they just assume, like Amber's right now, okay. She has no idea.
Do you want me to answer that?
So either one of y'all, can y'all answer what a walking quorum is?
And if I don't complete the mission in speaking, Shirley Fleming speaking, okay, they do say a walking quorum is 4 council members. 3 is not a walking quorum. But if 4 of us council members are together, unless we are discussing an issue, it's no walking quorum. 4 of us can be together, but not discuss anything of issue in the community.
So
am I correct, Steve?
Yep. She is right, because even when we go to banquets and things like that, well, sometimes all the council members are there, but we're not there discussing anything. We're not there on an official basis. But now the thing about it is, even with the 4, if we are in the same place, then we generally try to sit away from each other. If we're in a general event somewhere out in the community, we'll try to sit away from each other, or 4 people will just not get together all at one time. But 3 can. 3 is legal. But the number 4, why that's important is because that's the majority of the council. And if you have the majority of the council together, that means they can be discussing something political or something that's on the agenda, and they can come to a decision about something while they're there.
Yes.
And that's why that law was created about walking quorums, because people were known to do that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, that's why that law was created.
Right. And if 4 of us are together and someone happens to bring up an issue, one of us will leave or tell them, stop it right now. Okay, that's how we conduct that issue. We will either leave or tell them, stop it, and walk away. Thank you, Mr. Harris. You did a good job.
Okay, I have a question for Steve Harris. I was looking at part of a council meeting, just part of it, because after a while, me and my television became disenfranchised, as we often do. But they were having a vote, and you came in, and you were asking, you wanted knowledge of the vote, and somehow you got shut down.
It was concerning sewage and water. I had been discussing it before Mr. Harris walked in the door. Go ahead, Steve, and explain what happened.
What happened? Because aren't you allowed to know what's going on when you come in?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I came in. They had a special workshop that day, and of course, I'm one of the people who fights against starting early workshops. And they started at 3:00, and I know that I'm at work at 3:00 during the day. And I know
Where do you work?
I work for KISD.
Okay.
And I know that a lot of citizens are at work at 3:00, and that's why I fight against that, because the earlier you start, the less people are able to actually get to the meetings. And so, but they know that, but that's what the direction they go anyway. So even as I came in late, and they were having the closing remarks about the water and sewage. It was downtown.
Uh-huh.
It was the downtown standing committee that we were talking about. And so when I came in, I caught the tail end of it, and I was glad I got there because I wanted to say something on that. So I raised my hand, I began to speak on it, and I guess I hit a point that upset somebody. And so one of the council members called a point of order, and immediately after they did that, a point of order is something you say, you call out when you want to make a correction to something, or something's not going in the right direction, or discussion's not happening correctly. And the council member that did that, which was Councilman Kilpatrick, I'll say the names because it's public. Councilman Kilpatrick called a point of order, but didn't state what his point of order was about. And that's protocol. You're supposed to state what your point of order is about. And when he didn't do that, he called point of order and said, I call for the vote. And I let the mayor know I still had the floor, and but they called for the vote, so I kind of sat back and waited. And I was trying to figure out who made the motion, what was the motion. And so, but that started a whole little kind of small little firestorm between the mayor and myself and Kilpatrick and so forth. And it was interesting because at the end of the meeting, Kilpatrick came back and said that I was way off. I was way off topic. I was just talking. I was nowhere near the topic what the motion was about and so forth. But at the same time, Ms. Fleming's let me know that said, "Oh, you were right on point." And I knew I was, but yet at the same time they told me I wasn't. But during that kind of back and forth between the mayor and myself, I was letting them know I still had the floor, and the mayor basically kept trying to cut me off and wouldn't let me talk. And first he I forgot what he said. He said something. I had to go back and look at the video and remember what he said. But the one thing he said though was that really got to me. He said, "Well, your time was up." And when he said your time is up, I only been talking for like 3 minutes. So he tried to give me the same time as the citizens. He said your time is up, and I looked at him. I said no. I said I have 9 minutes. That's how many minutes a council member has. I guess he didn't expect me to know that, but we have 9 minutes. But he tried to say your time is up, and so we kept going back and forth a little bit, and finally I yielded the floor to him, and the vote was made, and that particular portion of the topic of the meeting ended.
So what about downtown? What's the important part about downtown? Because I think Amber lives in the downtown area.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Previously, at a business meeting, we had ad hoc committees, so we cut that totally out. Nash King made a motion that we bring it back to the workshop, which was the same day that Mr. Harris was talking about. Okay. Nash King made a motion not to have permanent downtown committees or any committees on the council unless it's needed now. And I said it's needed every day. I've been beat up by a lot of constituents that wants to be on the downtown committee, water and sewage and transportation. So that faded right there. They did not allow Mr. Harris to complete what he was wanting to say. So the way it is now, the council is against, and I'm saying it loud and clear, against downtown committee. So at the present time, I'm working on the downtown committee. So I'm bringing this out openly. Mr. Harris and I, Louis Minor, we're working on the downtown committee right now.
Okay, Amber, what does that say to you? You're a resident of that area. What does that say to you?
Yes, I live directly behind the 10th Street Post Office. The area that I live in is between 10th Street, Rancier, W.S. Young, and Veterans Memorial. I'm in that pocket, and we have a lot of need. It's visible. We don't have a strong police presence. We have a lot of illegal activity going on, and we have a lot of visible unemployment. It's obvious when you have adults that walk the streets all day that they are not employed. And another issue that we have is substandard housing. We have a lot of substandard rental properties that are neglected, where they're tenants, but the housing is not conducive to, you know, a decent quality of life. So, I mean, I relocated back to that area after my grandmother, right before my grandmother passed. We had inherited some property, and I'm debating whether or not to stay there. I have no issue with that area per se as far as logistic, but I feel the neglect is obvious. The neglect is obvious, and I am a voter, but I will say I own responsibility in not being truly informed about everything that's going on. I'm a very busy person. I'm a mother of 3, and I work full time. But I feel like it's time for me to participate and understand more. And I can't believe that I'm the only one in that area that wants to know more and do more. But I have a limited understanding of city government and how I can play a role in it. And I know that if I feel that way, as an educated person, that there are many people in that area who don't feel included or have access to the information they need to be a part of that process. So I feel like it's a co-responsibility. I'm a citizen, I have a role to play, but I need to figure out what that role is. And part of that is being educated. And honestly, I don't have a lot of knowledge about the local government. And I don't necessarily feel that I've been empowered, and I want to be empowered, and I feel that there's others that want to be empowered.
Shirley, Steve.
Thank you so much, Amber. My thing is the way I do my constituents in District 1, I get calls every day, emails. So if I don't know something, I can't help a person. I have an advisory committee that meets every month. The citizens come to my meeting, they voice their concerns if they don't send me an email. And I'm so glad you're here, because what I'm wanting you to do is to send me an email of all your concerns. I can't work on all of them at one time, but we'll prioritize what is the most important thing in your neighborhood. I do promise you I will work on this, because I do allow my constituents and my citizens, my community, to speak out on their concerns. I do not sit back and wait for someone else to do this, then I copy them. So I would like very much to meet with you, come to your street, come to your community. I do have neighborhood watch captains. I would like to bring some neighborhood watch signs. I ordered 100 the other day. Get together, have a meeting just in your neighborhood, okay? Yes, ma'am. I will do that. I promise you. I have one set up for this month on the 27th at Simmonsville Baptist Church. On the 27th with Tammy Mosey. I would love for you all to come. I want to get involved with you guys, because, I mean, they say that we are part-time council members, but this job is full-time. I mean, if a council member, if you don't work, because some of us do work, like Mr. Harris, I don't work. If you don't spend over 60 hours in your community, you're not considered a council person to me. And going to meetings, setting up this, that, and the other, answering your phone, your concerns, talking to your constituents. I talk to my constituents. You have brought yourself on this show for Mrs. Jones. I'm so happy. I get to know you and your community. I will get you involved so you will know all about our city government and let them see what I am doing as their council member.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
I'm excited about it.
Yes, I'm excited to get to know you. And I just don't make false promises. I have so many organizations I'm involved in with your children, sex and human trafficking. I'm also involved with a lot of people on that. This young lady standing up there, Mrs. Jones, we do that. Just everything that you just mentioned, young lady, I can help you with.
Yeah, another concern that I had, and I didn't mean for it to slip my mind, but it's really been on my heart. The homelessness.
Yes, I do that too.
The homelessness in downtown Killeen is very disappointing.
Don't cry. Sweetheart, I understand that. I work diligently with the homeless. I just finished making mats out of plastic bags. I collect plastic bags to help the homeless lay down under their blankets. Mrs. Jones has helped me out. We have really helped the homeless, and I know how you feel because I am very passionate about the homeless. We as a government, we need to do something about those people that don't have a place to go. We need to get them jobs. Bring them out of that hole that they're in. We've got to bring them out of that hole. And me as a city council person, I'm also working with the homeless, trying to get something done. We as a community needs to do this, darling.
Yeah, and it does. It needs to be a community effort. I've been talking with Ms. Jones for a few months now, and she's encouraged me. And I think really what it is everybody finding a part that they can play. It's not going to be the same role, but she encouraged me. I was down at the Dollar Tree buying, hygiene care packets, so that we can all put our hands to the plow and do something to make a difference. And it shouldn't be one council person that's holding, all of the heavy lifting. We need to lift your hands, but I didn't, and like I said, it's co-ownership of the problem. Like, I didn't know who you were, but I could have educated myself. I could have sought you out, but it took Ms. Jones to talk to me and nudge me, because one person can't do it. It's impossible, because the solution is not going to be an individual or just one organization. It's everybody playing a part. And so I just feel like the more people that we can get involved in, I'm thinking directly in my pocket where I live, even if it's just hanging information on a doorknob flyer with your contact information, maybe putting maybe a survey link where you can set up survey questions and just get the feedback that you're really wanting from your constituents, and kind of probe where their thinking is as far as prioritizing. So maybe you don't have to do so much physical footwork, but I was just brainstorming, because like I said, we need to all be a part of that solution.
Right. And I have done over 10 interviews in the last 2 weeks. I'm continuously on TV, continuously in the paper. So, and I continuously have things out there for everyone in my district to know. You can look on the Killeen website for my phone number, all the information. My phone number's there. I don't hide from my constituents. I'm out there.
Shirley.
I think some of it too is information.
Yes,
like,
I will really get everything out for you.
I really don't understand the city government process, and I want to be educated on it. And so I know that there's other people who want to be educated on it as well. For instance, sitting down and talking with Ms. Jones, knowing that you have 3 minutes to speak at a hearing, knowing that you even have that 3 minutes is empowering. That you don't have to call somebody or know someone per se, that just the fact that I live in Killeen, I can go and speak my mind clearly for 3 minutes. That's empowerment. But you'd be surprised how many people really don't understand that. you know, that they do have a voice.
I have a challenge.
Go ahead.
For
Come on.
Steve, come on up here.
Steve, come on. Put your two cents in.
First of all, I have a challenge, and then Steve, I need you to answer the downtown issue question too.
Okay.
Shirley.
Yeah, go ahead, darling.
Steve Harris, challenge. I need you two to spend the night in the city of Killeen on the street.
No, I can't.
No.
I can't do that.
I need y'all to. I need you to even try it. Just try to be homeless for a day. I want you.
How about us putting together several people to do that?
Okay.
Just for two of us, it might be a little dangerous.
Okay.
I'm a woman too.
I don't know that.
So I would like for you to join us as well, Phyllis.
I can do that. You know,
I think we need to do this as a campaign or as an effort to see.
But we need to do that.
Yes, and we really do need to set up a date, Phyllis. That is a wonderful challenge. Thank you. Would you be willing to go do this with us?
I'm willing to go.
Yeah, do it.
I'm willing to do this as a councilwoman.
Yeah.
I would definitely do that.
Because you know,
Phyllis.
all the people I'm scared of are dead.
Yeah. Thank you, darling, for bringing this up.
Yeah,
I think we need to set up a date on this. And you know what, Mrs. Jones?
Yeah.
This is a wonderful challenge to see how many people would like to feel what it is to be homeless.
We need to do it
what it is to not to eat all, you know, of course I know they give them food, but to not have a place in this community.
We need to know.
As quality of life. And I hear that word constantly on the council. But what is everybody doing to make the homeless have a quality of life?
But you know what? I'll tell you this.
Thank you so much.
On the city council, there's 7 of you, right?
Yes, it is.
Y'all have one job. No, just one.
That's it.
Your job is to make sure that the quality of life gets better. That's
Absolutely.
it. That's all you all supposed to do. Except for Steve, lately your mayor's been argumentative a lot. So his frustration is showing. Either he's tired of being the mayor, or he's not getting what he wants, like a little kid.
Yeah. I mean, either that or we're starting to get on his nerves because one of my things as a council member is even if I know I can't get a majority vote on something, my job is to expose it.
Right.
So when you come out and you expose things, then that frustrates people that don't want it exposed. Like say for instance with the downtown standing committee, even the water sewage standing committee, because you have 2 types of committee. You have an ad hoc committee and you have a standing committee. The ad hoc committee meets regularly. The standing committee doesn't meet regularly. It doesn't really need a lot of staff, the city staff participation, because they'll be kind of doing their own thing until they see a need to have staff participation. But one of the things with that is one council member, and they're going to get mad at me because they always say they get mad when I call their name out.
That's okay.
It's public though.
It's public knowledge.
But one thing I did hear when I came in is it was Councilwoman Nash King saying that she wanted to postpone the topic of the standing committees for downtown until after the budget. And when I heard that, I came in. The point I made was with the standing committee, this is not going to take any money because Councilman Rivera, Councilman Nash, and Kilpatrick, they're talking about the money you would need to do this. We don't have any money to do anything in downtown Killeen. But that wasn't the point. The point was if we have a standing committee, we can have that standing committee could be researching things. We don't need money to try to bring anybody in. We don't need money to try to build things up. We're doing the research right now. And if and when the time comes where we see something positive, then we'll come to the city and start asking the city for assistance, input, and/or at some point in time maybe money. But for the most part, the standing committee doesn't need any type of money. Right. And so, but when it came to, let's wait until after the budget season. Let's wait until after this or that. And that's the practice of the council is whenever there's something that they don't want to hear about or talk about, they push it off until something else, and it never gets brought up again, and unless you really fight for it and push for it or bring it up on your own. So with the standing committee for downtown, I think that is very important. Like I said, Shirley Fleming, because we are both fighting for it, and Councilwoman Fleming, she went on and started the construction of an actual committee. And like I said, we're going to definitely be working together real hard to try to get this thing going, because the thing is, if the city won't do it for you, even like with the homeless, if the city doesn't do it, or the city can't do it for some reason, then it's up to every individual to do what they can individually to help somebody. Like the challenge you have to go out there and sleep on the streets for a day or for a night or however long it may be. Yes, that is a challenge to either sensitize or resensitize some people to what it may feel like to be homeless. I mean, and so I never stepped out on the street, but I have been homeless before. I didn't have anywhere to stay, and I had to find some place to stay. But like I said, it comes down to when we look at the city, even specifically downtown, it's about building that area up to where it can become a truly productive part of the city. Once again, an attraction, because our thing is we want our downtown to be somewhere where people will become curious about from other towns and come down just to look and, of course, buy.